let us all do we can to build a better future. Daniel, you got a story for what people. What is going on?
Okay, so we wanted to bring up the last story as something a little interesting. So we have a story from Fox making their standard argument that they always do, that Joe Biden is somehow a progressive, and together we, us and you chat, we're just going to start typing everything that counteracts anything like that's about to be said in this video.
Seriously, Fox, you know, invite us on your show. Watch us get like, oh, Harlan's Beat is now on Fox. We'll correct the record for you guys because you guys are doing a terrible job.
Yeah. So everyone in chat, we need your support and we need your comments and live chat. And if this clipped, same thing. Let's remind them why they're wrong.
Yep.
Because propaganda is propaganda and it must be called out.
Progressive Democrats made their agenda clear with their goal to drag Joe Biden to the left.
We have a progressive movement that is about making
I love how they have Elizabeth Warren.
Begins with Joe and Kamala.
Snake progressive.
Likely push Vice President Biden in a more progressive direction across policy issues.
We will have a cohort of progressives that are very clear about their objectives for one
very
of the
clear.
implementation
Only the clearest.
of, Medicare for all and the Green New Deal.
We organize our people to make sure that Biden becomes the most progressive president since FDR.
That's why I'm voting for Neera
so far it seems to be working. Progressive Caucus Chair Pramila Jayapal telling The Hill, quote, there are certainly areas we're continuing to talk to them and push them on, but generally it's been a good, productive relationship. And we feel like many of the priorities of progressives that benefit working people and poor people across the country are really getting addressed and spoken to even in these first 2 weeks.
All right, here to react, Fox News contributor and the Federalist publisher, Ben Domenech. Ben, first off, I guess he is going way to the left. And now we have more direct payments on child care tax breaks that could be coming down, along with the $1.9 trillion.
Look, I think what we're going to see from Joe Biden is that he's going to talk like a unifier, but govern like a divider. And that's going to be something that I think we're going to see consistently throughout his administration. We're going to see people
part right there. Actually, I think that part's not off. That's the only thing. And we're going to stop, but that's enough of the video.
Okay.
But I wanted to. This is why we have to fight against mainstream media. This is why it's so important to fight against mainstream media, because they're like the U.S. They're a declining empire. They're losing power every single day. And now that Joe Biden has been elected, their viewership has dropped by half. So we're going to see way more exotic things that they're going to say. Actually, I take that back. Fox is actually not doing as bad. Interesting. But CNN, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, these are all enemies of the people. We talked before with Robinhood. Their coverage kills people just the same in what they tell people to focus on. So Fox News, what are they taking their time doing with Biden? Trying to convince people that he's progressive so they can call him socialist. That's the entire reason that they're doing that. That's the entire reason that they're framing it in the way that they did in the previous story. It's CNN saying not, hey, we promised Democrats are going to be in a really bad position if they ever try and tell people, if they ever hope to get the trust of the people, if they tell people they're going to give them money. Like, regardless, 2,400, it's not in the people's accounts. They're just taking time right now to argue over who gets less, what cap to drop it off at. That's what they're arguing about. They're not arguing about, hey, the people are hungry. The people need rent assistance. Everything's falling apart. Businesses are shutting down. And the government has failed to get, no, it's, yes, this is a legitimate argument about what check numbers, and this is what we should be fighting over. And then you have in our first one that we did on MSN where they're trying to make the point that if you increase the minimum wage, you're putting people out of work. No, talking and delaying, because we've seen how they evolve on this topic. It used to be $15 minimum wage. Are you insane? What are you, a communist? Then it became $15. What are you, insane? What are you, a socialist? Then it became $15 is unreasonable. America could never do it. Then it became $15 is really hard on businesses. And then it became, hey, it's a pandemic and $15 is really hard on businesses. They're still sort of stuck on that one. The point is that all of these organizations say things that bide time until they hope people forget about it, and people die as a result. I don't know how much the number is, but every day people are dying from $15 not being the minimum wage. Every day people are dying because a stimulus check didn't get to them in time, and now they're evicted. Now they're living on the street. Now they're on this path towards destruction and possibly drug use. That, by the way, thanks Big Pharma for initiating most of that. Then you have, of course, finally on Fox News, them just bypassing the entire argument in general and just going Biden progressive. And what's their evidence for it? That AOC said she wanted him to be progressive, and that Elizabeth Warren spoke. That's their evidence. This is who we're up against. Guess also who YouTube thinks is more reliable at telling the news.
And see, the thing is, what's sad is that Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, CBS, ABC, they always get the coveted spots on YouTube. And it wasn't too long ago where they used to mock, talk down. And even when I was interviewing Lee Camp, how if you just go back to their original YouTube channels and you check out some of their older videos, they only got like 2,000 views. Now they're at 100K. It's not because they're reliable. It's because the YouTube algorithm is favoring corporate media. It's the same corporate media that lied to us about war in Iraq. It's the same corporate media that lied to us about Russiagate. The same corporate media that said we have a reliable democracy. The same corporate media saying that we got to bail out the banks because they're too big to fail. The same corporate media says we got to trust Wall Street, even though it's one big Ponzi scheme. The same corporate media that constantly favors these corrupt politicians who've been in power for 20, 30, 40 plus years. Really? They're reliable? But yet there are so many other content creators that are being demonetized. Thankfully, Progressive Soapbox and Ford Fisher got their channels remonetized. Graham Elwood still hasn't. Nico House's channel hasn't. Convo Couch still hasn't.
Can you imagine how big our channel would be if we got that same algorithmic privilege that they do?
If all of us got the same algorithm, there was a time when that used to be the case, Daniel.
You know, actually, you can look at a channel that sort of bridges the divide. Sort of, I know some people are one side or another on it, but if you watch Rising the Hill, they were not too long ago. I mean, really about a year ago, they were about the size that we are, but because they're connected to the Hill. Yeah. They got that privilege that happened. And so now you see how fast they're growing. I believe they've outgrown everyone but like TYT in terms of the progressive channels, if my numbers are correct.
Yeah.
And why do you think that? I'm not dissing the Rising or anything specifically, but I'm saying that's what it looks like when YouTube benefits your algorithm.
Yeah, when YouTube favors you. And sadly, nothing's going to change unless we really start stepping up and start demanding things. Otherwise, do we look at alternative platforms like Rockfin or whatever else is out there? We got to change the system. And sadly, corporate media is still controlling the narrative. But yet what corporate media needs to realize is that they're that X that just doesn't realize that we broke up with them. There's a reason why I can't sit through corporate media or television anymore, because it's boring. You're boring, Fox, MSNBC, CBS, ABC. You're boring. I mean, the FCC made, I remember a time when radio used to be fun.
Yeah.
And then it's boring. So it's a lot of millennials who are like part of my age or younger or Gen Z. Like what happened to radio, this is what's happening to YouTube. It's starting to become not fun. And it's not only impacting independent media, it's impacting a lot of content creators. So, yeah. But again, nothing's going to change unless the people step up.